Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Girivara Jaya Gopidhana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Yamuna Tira Vanamsari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bolo, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charan Naravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skanda BP Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Pimanande all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Takshurandritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Ditam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhalutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantanamostute Taptakasana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Bhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer a respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil. and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Uttama Sloka Charitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Sakara Bhagavan Rishi
Bhagavan Shri
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Dhanyam Vasayanam Mahat.
Dhanyam Swasyanam Mahat.
The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all the literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhara,
Sri Advaita Gadadhar
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda,
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Sarabhyay Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyay Namaha,
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyay Namaha.
Surabhyaya Namaha
Mukam karoti vasaram pangum langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, welcome to our morning program. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 17, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. And today we're looking at text number 10, right? 10 and 11. So we have just 10 here, is it? Right, okay. So 10 and 11 actually are together, but we will just read text number 10 that's on the board. Of course, we'll read 11 also, but we'll recite especially 10. Yasya Rastre Praja Sarvas Krishyante Sadvi Asad Asadubihi Tasya Matasya Nashanti Kirtir Ayur Bhago Gati Yasya Rastre Praja Sarvas Prashante Sadya Sadhubihi Tasya Matasya Nashanti Kirtir Ayur Bhago Gatihi Yasya Rastre Praja Sarvas Krishante Sadya Sadhubihi Tasya Matasya Nashanti Kirtir Ayur Bhago Gatihi Yasya Rastre Prajasarvas Krishante Sadya sadhubihi
Tasyante sadvasadvihi
tasya matasya nashyanti
Tasya matasya nasyanti
kirtir ayur bhago gatihi
Kirti ayur bhavo gatihi
yasya rashtre prajas sarvas rasyante sadvya sadhubihi tasya matasya nashyanti kirtir ayur bhago gatihi
Yasya rashtre praja sarvas
yasya rashtre prajas sarvas
Tasyante sadhya sadhuvi
Trasyante sadhyavasadvihi
Tasya mattasya nashyanti
tasya matasya nashyanti
Kirti ayur bhavo gatihi
kirtirayur bhago gatihi
Yasya rashtre praja sarvas
yasya rashtre prajas sarvas
Trasyante sadhya sadhuvihi
trasyante sadhya sadhubihi
Tasya matasya nashyanti
tasya matasya nashyanti
Kirtir ayur bhago gatihi
kirtirayur bhago gatihi. One more.
यस्य राष्ट्रे प्रजा सर्वा
यस्य राष्ट्रे प्रजः सर्वस्
प्रसन्ते साध्य साधुभिः
प्रशन्ते सद्य साधुभिः
तस्य मतस्य नश्यन्ति
तस्य मतस्य नश्यन्ति
कीर्तिरायुर्भगो गतिः
कीर्तिरायुर्भगो गतिः यस्य one who rastre in the state praja
Praja
living beings
living beings
sarva
Sarva
one and all
one and all
Trishante are terrified.
terrified
Sadvi, O chaste one,
O chaste one
Asadbihi,
Sadhuvihi
by the miscreants,
by the miscreants
Tasya, his, Matasya, of the illusion, the Shanti, vanishes, Kirtihi, fame, Ayu, duration of life, Bhaga, fortune, Gatihi, good rebirth, Eshaha. These are
These are
Rajnam
Nyam
of the kings,
of the kings
Paraha, superior, Dharma,
Dharma
occupation, He, certainly, Arthanam, of the sufferers, Arti, sufferings, Nigraha, subduing, Ataha, therefore, Enam, this man, Vadishyami,
Dishyami
I shall kill,
I shall kill
Bhuttadruham,
Bhutadruham
revolter against other living beings,
other living beings
Asattamam,
Asattamam
the most wretched. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sridham Prabhupada Ki. O chaste one, the king's good name, duration of life, and good rebirth vanish when all kinds of living beings are terrified by miscreants in his kingdom. It is certainly the prime duty of the king to subdue first the sufferings of those who suffer. Therefore, I must kill this most wretched man because he is violent against other living beings. Kindly repeat after me. O chaste one,
O chaste one
the king's good name,
good name
duration of life, and good rebirth
good rebirth
vanish when all kinds of living beings are terrified by miscreants
are terrified by miscreants
in his kingdom. It is certainly the prime duty of the king
It is certainly the prime duty of the king
to subdue first the sufferings
to subdue first the sufferings
of those who suffer.
of those who suffer.
Therefore, I must kill
Therefore, I must kill
this most wretched man
this most wretched man
because he is violent
because he is violent
against other living beings.
against other living beings.
Purport. When there is some disturbance caused by wild animals in a village or town, the police and others take action to kill them. Similarly, it is the duty of the government to kill at once all bad social elements, such as thieves, dacoits, and murderers. The same punishment is also due to animal killers, because the animal of the state is also the praja. Praja means one who has taken birth in the state, and this includes both men and animals. Any living being who takes birth in a state has the primary right to live under the protection of the king. The jungle animals are also subject to the king, and they also have a right to live. So what to speak of domestic animals like the cows and bulls? Any living being, if he terrifies other living beings, is a most wretched subject, and the king should at once kill such a disturbing element. As the wild animal is killed when it creates disturbances, similarly, any man who unnecessarily kills or terrifies the jungle animals or other animals must be punished at once by the law of the Supreme Lord. All living beings, in whatever shape they may be, are the sons of the Lord, and no one has any right to kill another animal unless it is so ordered by the codes of natural law. The tiger can kill a lower animal for his subsistence, but a man cannot kill an animal for his subsistence. That is the law of God, who has created the law that a living being subsists by eating another living being. Thus, the vegetarians are also living by eating other living beings. Important point Prabhupada is making here. The sound of victory. Can't shout the sound of victory. So Prabhupada making the point here. Thus, the vegetarians are also living by eating other living beings. And vegetarians also include vegans. Therefore, the law is that one should live only by eating specific living beings as ordered by the law of God. The Ishopanishad directs that one should live by the direction of the Lord and not at one's sweet will. A man can subsist on varieties of grains, fruits and milk ordered by God, and there is no need of animal food, save and except in particular cases. The illusioned king or executive head, even though sometimes advertised as a great philosopher and learned scholar, will allow slaughterhouses in the state without knowing that torturing poor animals clears the way to hell for such foolish kings or executive heads. The executive head must always be alert to the safety of the prajas, both man and animal, and inquire whether a particular living being is harassed at any place by another living being. The harassing living being must at once be caught and put to death, as shown by Maharaj Parikshit. The people's government, or government by the people, we are referring here to the system of modern democracy, should not allow killing of innocent animals by the. They must know the codes of God as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit quotes here that according to the codes of God, the irresponsible king or state executive jeopardizes his good name, duration of life, power and strength, and ultimately his progressive march towards a better life and salvation after death. Such foolish men do not even believe in the existence of a next life. While commenting on this particular verse, we have in our presence the statement of a great modern politician who has recently died and left his will, which discloses his poor fund of knowledge of the codes of God mentioned by Maharaj Parikshit. The politician was so ignorant of the codes of God that he writes, "I do not believe in any such ceremonies, and to submit to them, even as a matter of form, would be hypocrisy and an attempt to delude ourselves and others. I have no religious sentiment in the matter." Contrasting these statements with a great politician in the modern age with those of Maharaj Parikshit, we find a vast difference. Maharaj Parikshit was pious according to the scriptural codes, whereas the modern politician goes by his personal belief and sentiments. Any great man of the material world is, after all, a conditioned soul. He is bound by the hands and feet by the ropes of material nature. And still the foolish conditioned soul thinks of himself as free to act by his whimsical sentiments. The conclusion is that people in the time of Maharaj Parikshit were happy, and the animals were given proper protection because the executive head was not whimsical or ignorant of God's law. Foolish, faithless creatures try to avoid the existence of the Lord and proclaim themselves secular at the cost of valuable human life. The human life is especially meant for knowing the science of God, but foolish creatures, especially in this age of Kali, instead of knowing God scientifically, make propaganda against religious belief as well as the existence of God, even though they are always bound by the laws of God, by the symptoms of birth, death, old age, and disease. Translation again. O chaste one, the king's good name, duration of life, and good rebirth vanish when all kinds of living beings are terrified by miscreants in his kingdom. It is certainly the prime duty of the king, to subdue first the sufferings of those who suffer. Therefore, I must kill this most wretched man because he is violent against other living beings. Both in the translation and purport as well. Very clear and very strong statements are being mentioned. There are natural codes of nature, laws of nature, just like material nature operates under certain codes or principles which no one can actually violate. Or when we violate or break the laws of nature or try to go against the laws of nature, we are immediately, if not immediately punished, eventually punished. This is directly connected, of course, with the principles of dharma, which are eternal principles as opposed to the ever-changing laws that are created in different countries, man-made laws. So when the man-made laws, as we see today in modern-day society, vastly differ and directly contradict or are opposed to the natural laws, then we can expect all kinds of reactions to take place. So here it mentions how normally a king, which is one of the most important positions of leadership within society, and in our Vedic literatures, Srimad Bhagavatam highlights, gives so many examples of pious kings, of ideal kings, how they are meant to rule, and how all the members of society, both men, animals, and even beyond animals, all living entities, including the trees and aquatics, they all are meant to be given a proper protection. So we've been talking in the last few days how the protection is the first and foremost duty and responsibility of those who are in leadership position. All types of protections, all levels of protection are described in the Shastra, including, of course, especially protection of life. Even here it mentions how when people are harassed and disturbed due to all kinds of irregularities that exist when one does not follow the natural codes as given in the Shastra, then people suffer in so many different ways, which is rampant throughout the world today, and therefore, as Prabhupada also mentions, there is open propaganda actually for performing activities that are against nature, against the laws of nature, against the codes that are given in the Shastra. There's open propaganda against the very concept and principle of God consciousness. And someone was just sharing a few days ago, I forget where it was, but some high court somewhere was passing some verdict against the chanting of the holy name. Which is understandable in a society where those in high positions, either prime ministers, presidents, etc., and of course people who deal with the law, judges and lawyers, etc., they're also meant to study these codes. That's why that is part of the training and education that is meant to be given. That's why somewhat of a controversial topic in India, especially the Manusamhita. Manusamhita, as we know, is referred to actually by Srila Prabhupada and our other acharyas as being one of the many books that it falls in the category of what is called Dharma Shastra, where different codes of conduct, different regulations are given. And of course, some of the codes mentioned in the context of what we are reading are very strong and severe. I've not personally studied the Manusamhita. What we also need to keep in mind, because actually some people have totally rejected this particular book. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the book. And two things we have to keep in mind. Number one, just like here, actually, it's quite heavy statement. If we were to apply this rule that is mentioned here, that anyone who kills not only human beings, but anyone who kills animals also should be killed, then there would be a lot of bloodshed. And of course, most people don't accept this, cannot accept it, because they are not understanding actually the code or the principles of Dharma. So the principles of Dharma, one of the foremost principles is that life is sacred and cannot be tampered with, we could say, as we are doing. Not only life as such, the whole principle goes much deeper in our Vedic culture. The whole principle of suffering, or ahimsa. Ahimsa is one of the 30 listed qualities that are mentioned by Narada Muni in the 7th canto when he begins to explain on these principles of dharma to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So we generally think of ahimsa, here we're talking about killing. In our Vaishnava philosophy and culture, even inflicting any kind of even mental disturbance to other living entities, causing any kind of uncomfort or disturbance is also going against the principles of dharma. And even beyond, even further, we were relating not so long ago this anecdote. Prabhupada had been invited. This was maybe shortly after Mahatma Gandhi had passed away. There were different ceremonies. Maybe it was his disappearance or something, whatever. Prabhupada was invited to give a talk on the subject matter of non-violence, isn't it? And then Prabhupada, I forget where that is related, and I'm sure that, well, I'm not absolutely sure, but Prabhupada makes reference that for us as devotees, as Vaishnavas, our understanding of non-violence is not simply avoiding to kill somebody or to offend somebody or hurt someone, but the deep, very deep understanding is that when we prevent someone through different maybe policies or different activities or words that we may be telling, when we prevent or inhibit one's advancement in spiritual life, when we don't allow someone to actually be introduced to the basic principles of religiosity or dharma, then we are actually committing suffering. We are going against the principle of ahimsa. We are we are implicated in actually because actually that is the greatest suffering. The greatest suffering is to keep one in ignorance as to his original identity and nature as eternal servants of Krishna, because it is only when one comes to that understanding, at least a very minimum basic understanding, aham brahmasmi, that I'm spirit soul, and of course beyond that I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, only then one can actually experience what we call eternal happiness, which our acharyas nicely describe, of course, as what are the two terms we use in our Vaishnava literature to describe happiness? I mean, highest happiness. Premananda is one of them. What's another one? Yes, and there's another one. Huh? Brahmananda. That's, yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's a lower level. Prabhupada mentions or equates Premananda to Sevananda. Very interesting. Yeah. means it is through seva, through service, because through bhakti ananda, because Krishna bhakti nitya siddha. It is the eternal quality and perfection of the living entity. Krishna bhakti nitya siddha sadhya kabunoi sravanadi, and it comes especially the more we hear and become awakened. So that is providing that kind of knowledge and information enables one to actually become realized, isn't it? And preventing, avoiding, not providing that opportunity, which is Prabhupada's main concern about the whole system of modern education, where we are preventing young minds, young souls, to be introduced actually to this eternal knowledge. This is real violence. This is actually the highest level of violence. So in other words, the whole concept of violence is a very important one. It's an integral part of the codes, the eternal codes of the nature, and very much delineated in detail in various dharma shastras that are existing. So there were 2 points I wanted to make. This is one. The other one is that some of the shastras, some of the literatures that we read today, which have been translated, in the particular in the context that we find ourselves here in India, one has to be very cautious, because some of these shastras, some of them have been tampered with intentionally, because some of the original persons who started to look at shastras were not from India and had ulterior motives as well. That's a whole other topic in itself. But that's also a factor which sometimes makes for confusing statements that are sometimes made or found in Shastra. That's part of our research department eventually. Very important to have individuals who will be looking into. Already we have some devotees who are doing that to really understand why certain statements are made either in their original Sanskrit text or in their translation as well. And sometimes it just takes a little while for these things to become unraveled, but that's actually very important. I mean, we recite every day, the prayers to the Goswamis, and we glorify them for having been especially most instrumental in deeply scrutinizingly, to use the term, the correct term, scrutinizingly, they have studied the Vedic literatures to bring out what is most important, the essence. And of course, that was 500 years ago, and things happened in between in terms of both understanding, in terms of translation, etc. I mean, translations only started to happen, a few hundred years ago. Before that, I mean, it was only, the Vedic literatures were only available to those who took the time and trouble to learn Sanskrit. I mean, people from China used to come to India and from other countries, and they would learn Sanskrit. As a matter of fact, I think in one of the first universities, people would not even be admitted in the university unless they knew Sanskrit. it was not a course that was taught at the university. It was like before you're even, allowed to be a student here, you have to know. It's like, we admit children in school when they know how to speak, right? Which is primarily the responsibility of parents. So there's some basic minimum qualifications needed before doing anything. So the topic of violence, which is and connected with the codes of dharma, the codes of religion, is a very important subject matter that needs to be discussed much more, and especially which is highly misunderstood in modern day society, because it's like, we can take so many examples like abortion, which is sanctioned practically in all the countries of the world. But there are groups of people, like in America, for example, who are totally, against abortion, and they're very vocal and very active. And of course, you have others who are, pro and anti and whatnot. That's because people are just using their own very limited, imperfect, faulty brains or intelligence. And that's one of the basic principles we come to know when we study Shastra, when we come in contact with the Vedic culture, is that proper understanding, proper knowledge is possible only when we actually hear it from proper sources, proper authorities, because we are we're limited in our understanding even of simple ordinary things. But to speak of more deep and more complicated subject matters. I'm sure some of you have thought of some aspects, or they have some comment on what we have read or question. Yeah.
One question came up, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. In today's world, people are not always harmed physically.
This is a question that came up, or is it?
Question.
Okay. Yeah.
Many suffer from emotional and social abuse.
Yes.
How can a good leader protect others from these kind of harm, like Maharaj Parikshit protected his citizens?
Yes. How can one protect one from emotional abuse?
Social and emotional abuse.
Social and emotional abuse. Yes. That's a very good question, because it's rampant. It is widespread all over the world. And of course, for all of us, as devotees especially, we can begin to get relief from such. We cannot immediately stop social and emotional abuse. We can take precautions. We should take precautions, and that's part of the responsibility of all leaders. We have leaders at different levels in general society and within our own ISKCON society, for example. We have people who are at the topmost level in terms of GBC members. We have other levels, regional secretaries, we have temple presidents, we have counselors, for example, in different temples, etc. We have senior devotees. In one sense, all devotees who are in knowledge, and devotee means someone who is meant to be in knowledge, are meant to be leaders in terms of sharing and providing that knowledge to others. We cannot, of course, long-term goal is to try and remove or minimize social and emotional abuse in society, within general society and within our own ISKCON society, because being Kali Yuga, even those who take the spiritual life in Kali Yuga especially don't immediately become pure devotees. So we're dealing with all kinds of levels of devotees, you know. I'm not sure the question is relating to social and emotional abuse within our ISKCON society or, or within general society. But the principles are basically the same in terms of how to protect ourselves, how different leaders, and it's a responsibility actually of every single devotee, because that's the foremost responsibility of Vaishnavas to uh, to alleviate the sufferings of others, isn't it? And we all know, we should all know, how that level of suffering in society, in general society, and unfortunately also present within our own ISKCON society, is at its maximum level nowadays because of the whole, you know, social disorder that is existing, prevailing, and affecting us in so many different ways. One can immediately get relief from a lot of this social and emotional suffering by taking shelter of the holy name, which everyone can do actually. It's like when somebody, very often people ask the question, which is natural. They will say, that question was asked to me quite often, that you're a devotee. You've been a devotee for so many years. Why this happened to you? Why this accident happened to you, or why, you know, some kind of calamity happened to you? Why do calamity, you know, it's like the question also, why do bad things happen to good people? And why do good things happen to bad people? So the idea is that we cannot change immediately the externals in terms of, you know, rampant disorders that are there in Kali Yuga, but we can learn how to not be affected, you see, by cultivation of knowledge. As long as we are here in the material world, nature will take its own course of action. Now we're in Kali Yuga, there are more karmic reactions. There are more, you know, karma is, Kali Yuga is for living out, especially people's bad karma. It's the worst of the 4 ages. So we can expect all kinds of, you know, irregularities and social and emotional pressures and disturbances. We need to take steps, and leaders especially, that's the responsibility, especially of those in leadership position, but it's a responsibility of each and every devotee as well, to help to alleviate our Krishna. When we yawn, we should, you know, like that. And when we take objects in the hand, especially incense, we should do it with the right hand. So many different small things we should be doing that we tend to forget about. But yeah, it's a question of being sensitive. And that is very difficult in this modern age because of the age of, you know, machines. Machines are totally insensitive. I mean, machines have no soul. Machines, I mean, Paramatma is there. But the individual jiva, I mean, it's difficult, a major challenge for all of us actually to be as sensitive as generally one would be in a more natural environment where people are more, let's say, elevated in consciousness. People's consciousness nowadays is extremely low, very, very low. When we have low consciousness, we are insensitive to situations. We are insensitive to others. We just don't see things because we're covered, isn't it? We're covered by Maya. We're covered by ignorance. So it's a responsibility of leaders and all the devotees in general to give as much emotional support, put this down, as much emotional support as possible, and each and every devotee should be, the more we absorb ourselves in activities of devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name, with so many activities as we're doing every day, morning program, hearing Bhagavatam, choosing, selecting good association, and of course, on the long run, the long term is that it's one of the not projects, but programs that we have, which will end up in projects as well, developing communities of devotees, isn't it? The Vedic system is that we're meant to live together in communities where everyone is focused on serving Krishna. So Vedic villages are meant for that purpose. A whole Vedic culture is actually meant to facilitate and support individuals to advance in Krishna consciousness by living together, serving together, etc. So there's a very urgent need for devotees around the world actually to to create communities. It's one of the mandates of our project here. Once we have trained individuals both in Gurukul and Varnashram College, they'll be in a position to actually help reestablish, revive, or protect existing villages. We're fortunate in India, different from other countries, in that we have still so many villages, but our villages are in very bad shape, to say the least, isn't it? So we need to know, well, what's wrong with the villages? What is lacking or missing? Well, it's given here in the purport itself. Bulls are missing in villages, in India and other places as well. Proper care and protection of cows, and so many other things. Proper care of the land, bhumi, land, cows, animals. It's they're being desecrated. They are by nature sacred. Cow is sacred. Land is also sacred, bhumi. They are the gifts given to us for our both physical and also spiritual development. Yes.
I would like to say that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the third chapter that he organized a proper cooperation between human beings and demigods.
Yes.
If they follow their own duties, then everyone can
benefit
protected
yes
life. And then the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that different times some bad things happen because of different causes, like Prithu Maharaj experienced that there is no food for people. Also, they did everything. So he started to understand what is the original cause, and he found that Bhumi Devi is not following her duties.
Yes.
And also in the Ramayana, we can see that the father of Ramachandra found that there is a big problem, or his friend, there is no rain coming. So they started to find why there is no rain. And they asked Brahmanas. So they consulted Brahmanas, and Brahmanas found out what is the original cause and what kind of yagya they should do to remove that social or problem from the people in general. So
Yes.
as you told, we have to have a educational system, because most of the time the ignorance is causing this kind of problems in general.
Yes.
So first have to remove the ignorance of people in general,
Yes.
and then specifically have to organize according to that Vedic knowledge how to maintain that educated, that properly intelligent system of
Yes.
Varnashram.
Yes.
So that is the leader's duty, to organize education system and maintain that, and then whatever they have to do, they follow. But if they have to punish someone, they find that person.
Yes.
So that's very complex.
Yes. We were hearing yesterday an anecdote of one individual, without mentioning any names, who was asking one of his authorities about Varnashram, because somehow he was having some realizations that that's something that seems to be missing, and the reply was not to his satisfaction. But yeah, the point you're making is that there's a whole system which begins actually with cooperation in terms with demigods and the laws of nature, and by knowing and following the recommended system, the natural system, which is outlined in the Shastra, then we will not be causing various types of suffering. And therefore it's important for those who are brahmanas especially, that's one of their primary duties and responsibility, because they're supposed to know about Shastra, to go and find out the root of the problem, as you nicely mentioned, and then accordingly give the proper remedy to resolve that particular situation and to bring back things to what is meant to be. And that's why modern day society today, we have gone completely, practically speaking, off the chart with our concept of ever increasing urbanization and industrialization and mechanization, which is opposite to what is recommended in the Shastra. And we can see, if we can just open our eyes, all of the very deep destructions and that is taking place all over the world, causing immense suffering, isn't it? Pain and suffering on a daily basis to hundreds and thousands of people who are dying physically, literally, because of wars that are coming out of these irregularities, etc. So that's why Prabhupada, I was just sharing that well-known, I think, statement by Srila Prabhupada. One of the purposes of our society is to bring about a complete overhaul within society and revert to the system of Varna and Asrama, which is the recommended, it's described as the perfect society. Now we have, people don't even, of course, believe, especially those who are intellectuals, they don't believe in perfection. Right.
Maharaj, from past 15 years, I go to Ratha Yatra every year.
Yes.
In Puri, so they follow perfect Varnashram.
Yes.
Like all Varnas come together, they build the cart and there are certain set of people. And I was talking to one person that his father, they are going like discipline succession, teaching building the carts,
Yes.
and painting, the artwork, everything.
Yes.
And he mentioned that one of his father broke the parampara because he went as a software engineer. So, and he's banished from the community.
Okay.
So they don't let him again to do the seva.
Right.
And their only purpose is to please Krishna Maharaj.
Right.
And all Varnas and Ashramas together.
Yes.
They're going from past, I don't know.
Right.
Thousands of
Centuries.
years.
Correct.
Yes. And that the same cart, same design, everything same.
Right.
And by looking at it, it looks like a normal thing for them. Within 6 months they build the.
But the whole science behind it.
Yeah. That's the science.
Correct. Yes.
And also I came to know that Krishna, all the land doesn't not belong to Krishna, it belongs to Balaram. And the Balaram but Krishna runs the show.
Okay.
So they are saying that everything is Varnashram.
In Jagannath Puri. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Even the king comes now, he sweeps the
Correct.
the cart and everything Varnashram.
Right.
They are saying even the Achamanam person doesn't come, they'll stop the ritual.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everything is like tailor-made, I mean, like, scientifically and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so when somebody doesn't do something, then it disrupts, the whole thing comes.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, yes. But in Vrindavan, Krishna has land and Balaram also have land. 7 of the forests belong to Krishna and 5 of the forests belong to Balaram. 7 forests on one side of the Jamuna and 5 forests on the other side. And sometimes the cows, they go they have to cross. And there's a whole system I came to know quite some time back. The small calves, they also have to cross. And there's a way they cross, they go, if the current is coming this way, the mother is here and the calf is here. If the current is going this way, then the mother is here and the calf is here, protected from them. Right? I mean, yeah. Because you were mentioning that all the land, maybe in Jagannath Puri, all the land belongs to Balaram, I don't know. Interesting, yeah. Okay.
15.
Oh my God. Okay.
Bhakti Yoga.
Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki. Short yoga class today. You having a class today?